Hello, comrades. Welcome to the live stream. As is usually the case at 2 o'clock on the dot, I think I am talking to myself, which is wonderful. Gives me a little chance to recap before everything happens. And let me see here if we can, since I just have a minute and I don't think there's too many of you out there watching at this second, I just want to make sure that the sound is playing. Hello, comrades. Yep, there you go. Live stream. As is usually the case at 2. And let me mute this other computer entirely so it doesn't bother us for anything. And we will get going. Very good. Okay, so now, what I just, came in here a few minutes ago before I actually started the stream, was looking around at what we need to accomplish and what problems we may be having. And I noticed right off the bat that I haven't unpaused it or anything. This is exactly time is as we left it in the last one. So we have a problem with the workers walking up to here. So what I thought of doing, I think the only other place, I don't think they can walk to here, can they? Let's check. Now, so they can't walk up to here, so they're going to have to get on this bus. And that means they're going to pretty much, well, you know what we could do? We could tell a certain number of them. We don't want to go do it from the bus, do we? We could do it from here. So I want some of you to go here. Oops. Some of you to go there, and some of you to go here. And I don't know if that will keep our asphalt plants going entirely, but at least asphalt and concrete plant going, but at least it will get control. We might want to change these numbers. And then, again, I know there's not too many of you on there. It looks like maybe one other person has joined. I'm not sure. But I would really like to know if I mess with these houses at all, do I end up like they start just, getting unhappy very quickly because they don't have their needs met? Like, can we build a road through here? Or as soon as I do that, is that, like, what will trigger them? I've never played a populated map, and we've only ever done this. So if someone knows, let me know. And in the meantime, what are this guy assigned to? Let's see. Yes, the fire station. Yeah, we had our little fire problem, didn't we? And yeah, we rebuilt our school using some of our money because we have to have a school. And I think they're working on this road as well. So the problem is now we don't have asphalt. So hopefully we fix the asphalt issue. Now, for those of you who've never watched the stream and maybe watching the replay, I'm thinking what we should do is talk about just what the rules are. So we're pretty much decided that we have to build an asphalt road before we can put power plants. Otherwise, it makes it a little bit too easy to say, come down here and get coal. Though that wouldn't be easy for other reasons. It means we'd have to get this town going. The other thing is we're not allowed to start new towns. So like we can't just decide, that we want to plop a town in right here. Like, for example, there is coal on the back of this hill right over in this area, I remember. We're going to have to use the people out of Barrenherad, whatever that is, and bust them over there if that's the case. We couldn't just like plop a new shiny town. Now, actually, you could argue that building right here is within the suburbs of Baharad, whatever that is, right? So, there is some latitude there as to what you do, but we can't just come over to an area that has no town like here and just decide, well, here we can't build a town on that mountain. So there we go. So anyway, so pretty shortly here, we'll get going. I usually like to give it like a 10-minute warm-up at least. So we're 5 minutes into the live stream, and it seems like people get the notice and get here, and then we'll get going in more earnest. But if anybody out there has a comment as to what we should be doing, we got our, just to do a little recap, we got our farm being built. We definitely decided that building a farm would be one of the top priorities as far as getting the most bang for our buck. And then, like, because alcohol is probably worth driving someplace to distribute, and we're kind of in the middle of the map here. So We definitely want to try to tend towards distributing things, if we could, towards the Soviet countries, just because if you do the dollars, you end up, with issues. By the way, we also have another rule. I forgot to write it on my little list that I was reading. No selling power. So like, just because it's kind of too easy to sell power, but so we could drive the stuff all the way up to there. We have a road. I mean, this is probably even further. See, that guy doesn't have a road. This one has a nice paved road. Where does it go? Yeah, I know we're attached to that town by whatever meandering path, but the other issue we're going to have is, like, we don't have any gas stations going those ways. These petrol stations, whatever you might call them in your country. Like, we're not going to make it all the way out to here. And that's an American one or NATO one, which is fine, but we're going to run out of fuel before we get a truck, I think, all the way up to there. We could try to send one out on a suicide mission of sorts, right? Yeah, I mean, it would really be nice to get... We could definitely maybe get to this one, would be as close as any other, and it's all paved roads, and it is Soviet, which would definitely mean Hey, Pietro, I just saw your chat. Welcome. Would definitely mean building up this way, right? How are you doing today? I was just talking to myself, kind of. Not exactly, but thinking out loud about what we could do as far as exporting stuff. Like, we're going to have our little farm here, and we'll pause time in a few minutes, give a few other people a chance to get here maybe, and just kind of doing a little recap in the first few minutes. We're going to have alcohol, and alcohol is definitely one of those things that's worth distributing. But I was just looking for where we actually had roads, and I have another question. If you've ever played a populated map, like, if we were to pave this road, do these people become unhappy? Now, I don't think we have a rule against, like, moving all of the people out of this town into our town, right? So, but the question is, like, do we have to do that? Like, we might want to put a road across a little bit straighter there. But the problem is with going this way is that I don't know that that's going to like a NATO one, right? What is that flashing? I don't know why the game is there. I'm seeing like flashing black for some reason. So maybe we shouldn't go over there because there we go. See that? I don't know why that's doing that. Maybe it's not showing up on the stream. I don't know. I hope not. It's going to drive me nuts even if you guys can't see it. But I think probably one of our best candidates, because it's at least a gravel road, is to go up to this one. But there's no way a truck is going to make it that whole distance without running out of fuel. And that becomes a pretty big challenge if that's the case. I mean, we could do a little cutoff road here, right? Instead of paving right up to that town, we would just kind of come off here. And then I think there's oil here. I'm actually getting familiar enough with the map, or at least this side of the map. Yeah, see, there's oil right there. Now, is there any oil up along this road anywhere? Let's take a look. Yeah, right here. See, so that's... I mean, it's not the world's... Well, it's not a bad thing of oil, is it? I mean, so there's some argument, because I know if we come back over here, there's some coal. It's not a lot, but we don't really need a lot to get a power plant going, you know? And maybe a brick... is that it? Oh, no. I was going to say, it was... There you go. See, I mean, it's not going to be the world's greatest power plant or coal there, but it's still coal, right? And it's still relatively close, something we could get. Yeah, I mean, we would just have to get, to the other side of this hill somehow. Well, let me know what you think, if you have a thought on that. Then the question is, how close can we get to these towns with stuff? All right, so in any event, I think we should start playing time and see if we fixed our issue with these people. And then the other thing is, do we want to just move people? Like, how is everybody doing over here? Everybody over here is like really happy, even though we're paying for them, and a lot of them are probably unemployed. You know what? We haven't looked. That's a good thing to recap. So there's actually 2,000 people, and let's just do this year. And no one has escaped from the whole map. Knock on wood. So that's a good thing. And how many? Yeah, we have a starting population here that's in pretty good shape still. All right, so let's play it a little bit. And see how we're making out. And do we get? Yeah, there goes a guy into the asphalt plant. Yeah, I can see they're running, or at least there's. Look at this, missing resource cement. Yeah, we'll have to buy it with rubles. There we go. All right, so now concrete plant can't produce concrete. Now, why are you people walking along the road? You don't like my footpath that I built for you? Is it not, well, whatever. I guess you can walk along the road. It's okay with me. All right, so how are we doing? Good. So it seems like we're in business here. And as soon as this firehouse is done being built, which how are we doing there? Slow. Slower than sin. I'm thinking that one thing we should probably do over here too is, I don't like just having one construction thing. So can we test how far we can do construction? Yeah, we have a little. Let's get this going, and we'll just make a little dot on the map or something. Yeah, we'll do this level tool small as we can. Yeah, see, it would level. Yep, level there. No. Yep, level up to there. Yeah, see, it won't, but usually doesn't it give you that message that you can't level? I know, I could still go here. Why is it? Oh, maybe it was already level. Yeah, we could get quite a distance, can't we? We're not paying for this with dollars or anything, Dom, are we? Okay, there you go. Yep, not there. So let's see. What can we put here? Let's put a little dirt road. Like, so I don't forget where it's at. I guess we could put a little note, new city name there, right? So we could get all the way around to there without building another thing. So do we want to consider plopping down another construction office right there? Good, no issues. Other than that, we're going to be waiting a while for stuff to happen. Yeah, I think we should. Now, they're going to have to go all the way back here to get supplies, but then once we have that one built, because I think we should work this way, because it'll get us closer to getting an export. We have oil right here. We have coal right here. The coal means bricks and power, and oil means many other good things. And we can also export oil-like things and make money. And then the issue is getting, yeah, I think we should just be steady before we spend a whole lot of money on other things, because we're going to run into the same problem. If we can't build where we don't have an asphalt road, I think we should just be steady building asphalt roads. What is up here? Yeah, see, we don't have a road. Where is this road? So we got that one. See, and that basically goes back to the same place. So either way, if we build up to here as our goal and start talking about Harad, whatever. And then the other question is, do we even want to, yeah, other than that, we kind of have that mountain in our way. But I could see us maybe cutting off, making the road a lot straighter. Like it doesn't. See, I think this is how you build when the game's leveling system was a lot harder. You know, like, and this is what I think they originally had intended before they decided to make it easy level 101. You know. Pietro, are you still there with me? You haven't said a whole lot, which is okay. But normally you have an opinion about these things, I've noticed. And maybe you were just here with me for minutes. All right, so let's go ahead, since people are not screaming out, do this or do that. And that's the wrong button. Let's put down, let's zoom in where you guys might be able to see. Yeah, we could put it right here because let's see, how's the wireframe look? Yeah, so it's pretty flat right there. And then every place we ever put one of those, we will always put a gas station. And you know what, this could be a gravel road. We'll have enough troubles. Yeah, and you know what? I'm just going to do this so that we can build one road and then in, right? Good. So that'll get us going in that direction. And how is our construction guys doing? Come on. Oh, good. We're finally working on the firehouse. Now, do we have all the construction vehicles we can have? Yes. And I know I just sort of violated the rule, but I don't mind if we plop things down. Like we could, as far as I'm concerned, other than the fact that we're going to have issues, like we could plan ahead if we wanted to, right? Like I think the rule should be that you can't build power lines, which means you can't get, like you could build other things along these roads, like if we wanted to. But if we don't have power lines, and the fuel stations won't work, and then we can't export things, right? So it's sort of forces your hand in a way that you might not exactly expect right away. Okay, so let's fast forward time a little bit more. See how we're doing here. Yeah, we just don't have a lot of workers and stuff now. How are we doing here? Well, they were not able to enjoy culture, but we have 2 buses taking them pretty steady over there. So they're not getting any less happy. But our little experiment, I think one of the things we had talked about too, let's plan this out. Is that we were at least going to get like some kind of basics for them. Like maybe it's fine that they go over there to get culture, but it seems to me like putting a small shopping center carefully with the delete tool. Get rid of that. Hit escape so you don't delete things behind the menu. All right, if we had, you know what, let's level this a little bit anyway. And in the regular series, I was a leveling fool. Leveling fool this morning. What? Okay, well the footpath attaching is fine. I was really kind of hoping for that road to attach as a priority, but all right, and then hopefully I didn't mess myself up for one of these guys. Come on. No, he won't let me. All right, let's do a little more leveling. Hello, Steve. How are you? Steve, I haven't heard from Pietro in a while, so I don't know if he's actually still here. I think he may have just, like, hit and run hello'd me or something along those lines. So what I am doing is proceeding onward, right? As best I can. I'm wondering if I can't connect these roads because of the height of this thing. No, got that one. Nope, got that one. Okay. So now what we have here is just a little shopping center in this town's area. And then I wanted to put in a parking spaces for it so that we could get the extra trucks in there so that it's not a complete traffic jam all the time, which it tends to be otherwise. And then would we want a pub up here at that point? Let's go and get a pub. Yeah, because we don't need the small store. We don't really need a cinema. They can go back there, but everybody likes a pub close by, so you don't have to drink and drive, right? Now, behind us is just sort of a mountain, so I think I'm going to put this... Yeah, let's see if we can't level kind of going this way. These roads are not ideal, or this... We're kind of on a hill here. It's not ideal. There we go. All right, so at least we'll have like what I would consider the real basics over here, right? And I have my firehouse open, keeping an eye on that getting built. We're just not getting very many workers over there, which is... I'm hesitant to move too many people over here. Well, you know what? I think that's definitely gone up. Yeah, they're not able to enjoy culture, but they have a church. Like, they don't need everything to be satisfied. The big thing is they need to be able to get food, and they need, like, enough of their stuff. I like the fact I just put the... Sorry, I distracted myself, but I just put the pub right across from the church. You gotta like that, right? All right, anyway. Yeah, so I think you know, the idea of busing for their stuff is kind of fine, but in the long run, yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of busing for when you could just build a pub and a shopping center, right? Now, by the way, when we build these, like I'm building a few of these like parking place things, and we don't necessarily need to build them until we start distributing our own stuff, right? So once we have our own food, then we can... Once that becomes an issue, we can start doing that. So other than that, I'm not sure, Steve, how much of this you've watched, but what I'm thinking of is that we should go over to this way. So I built a construction, and the reason is if we can get up over this hill, well, there's a few reasons. One is we have oil right over here I just found, And somebody might have mentioned that. I don't really know. But and then we have like coal right up here. So we could get like bricks and power and, all the wonderful things associated with getting starting oil going. And then I would far rather, if we're going to establish a connection, go to a Soviet where we get money that we can actually buy vehicles with, because like we're not going to be able to buy any vehicles with the amount of dollars that we have. Like, just if you go try to buy a vehicle, it's all like in rubles. But we could either get to this one if it's closer, or again, there's like a Y in the road right there, a T in the road. If we go this way off the T, we can get all the way up to this one, and they're both Soviet, and I think they're probably as close as any others. But see, like getting up this way as a general statement, that one might even be the closest, huh? I don't care which one we go to, but it definitely is sort of like we could go, if we started heading this way along this road, we get over to an American NATO thing, which is not as good. Hello, Radomir. Welcome. And, yeah. So, I don't know how much of that you just heard, Radomir, but I was just sort of replaying what I was thinking when I was sitting here sort of talking to myself. And I've gotten things going since the last live stream where, we're playing time. As a matter of fact, now that I'm doing so much talking, let me slow it down. I have my fire station here open. We had a little issue where I've actually decided to distribute these guys, like by telling them where to go to work, so that we would hopefully keep people in the asphalt plant. But we probably need to get more people into here. But I also didn't want to move people into here until I saw that their happiness was kind of a little bit better than it was. Now, nobody has escaped from here, but at the same time, they're kind of really on the borderline of being happy or not. Now, everybody over here is pretty happy, but of course, they're not hardly even working. So, yeah. So anyway, so what I've thought of is going over in this direction. I think is going to be our best bet. Get up on this hill here eventually, and then if any of you guys know, what happens if I build a road past here, or anywhere for that matter? Like, we can kind of bypass this town, but we might sort of want to take advantage of the road that's already there. And like, if we pave this road, does that make all these people unhappy? No, the resources I think are in the same places. That might not be 100% true, but if we go over to the part of the map that I'm real familiar with, like this is Energinisk right here. I know it doesn't look like it anymore these days. It is amazing when you look. Like, this is the heart of Reverstan in the other series. Like, it's right here. Like, this is where Neuve Revergrad's going to be, somewhere like up here, I think. But anyway, so if I'm right, this is like all oil right here. See? That's all oil. So this is where our steel mill is over by Energinisk, and then our tunnels go through right here. But yeah, and then like I could tell you that there's coal. Well, there's iron and coal, like good iron and coal around here too. This is like a wonderful place to be. Which is why I picked it originally. Like not that. Coal. See, like we got enough coal up here as a general thing to kind of get you going. But then there's definitely like a lot of iron over this way. So yeah, no, these, I'm almost certain they're like the exact same resources. So yeah, it's the same exact map without, I mean, in the blank map, you don't have the cities and the towns either, of course, but. Hey, M Gamer PT, welcome. I'm not sure what Boa Tarde means. Is that hello? I'm American, so we don't get exposed to too many other languages. Our states are kind of like your countries. If you're from, I'm assuming you might be from Europe. I don't, no idea. But yeah, I know Europeans tend to run into people from other countries that speak other languages far more often than us Americans. Spanish, we do run into people that speak Spanish here. So anyway, I hope that answered your question, Steve. Give me a second to get a drink. And for those of you who might not know or may have forgotten, there is probably about a 10, maybe even a 15-second delay. Just so don't be too upset if I don't respond to you in a lightning quick manner. And it also tends to get me like pausing a little bit more than I would otherwise, just because I end up saying something and then kind of waiting for some responses, or at least giving you guys a chance. And then by the time you start typing, it's sort of like a 30-second process. But anyway, so I definitely, in this series, I definitely try to get everybody's input best we can. So when I'm here alone, then I am everybody's input. So good chance we're going to build a next construction office. And I think I'd even like to make that a semi-big priority, right? We need to get a firehouse going. And is this road done? Oh yeah, that road's done. I think we should keep paving that road too. Though it is kind of good to get that firehouse done ASAP. Maybe we'll just hold off and go back to, now that I'm back over here paying more attention. Oh, look, we lost a person. Did we lose them because they died, or did we lose them this year? We got 17 escapes. Yeah. Well, if they're escaping, there's no way to really tell if they escaped from here, right? Other than they're just not real happy. Now, I don't think anybody would escape from over here. But yeah, maybe we should prioritize getting them the pub and then they only have to take a bus ride when they want to go get culture. Oh, wait, I thought we had a cinema. Did we not build a cinema? Shopping center. Well, we don't have a cinema over here, do we? Nah, that's not going to help. I thought we had everything we needed. I remember saying that anyway. I guess I was wrong. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by triangulation. Here's my biggest concern, and you guys let me know what you think. We don't have any way to get exports out of here. And assuming we go with our rule that we're going to need to turn these into asphalt roads before we can put power plants, there's no way a truck is going to be driving like these distances to get to like this export location or any one of the export locations without a working fuel situation, right? If we decide to, not do the paving thing, then the whole thing becomes not necessarily a very hard start, because we should start building power lines. And does that make sense? Like, in other words, like, we can't export anything right now. So the more stuff we build that we don't really need, the less chance we have of ever getting anything exported. Like, if it's not an absolute must-have right now kind of situation, kind of like the last series. I mean, again, I do like the idea of, the hard start, because I think the game's kind of interesting in the sense that it turns into just a whole different game after you get to a certain point that you're exporting and making enough money. It just becomes like a regular old city builder, with the neat thing of you still have to get your vehicles out there building, Heck, in the other regular series, we don't even have to really do that. They'll just go. And so I'm not sure what you mean by triangulation. I got this one out here so that we could then maybe build another one out here, and we'll have a gas station here, and we'll like kind of put down, every time we put down a construction that we plan on keeping, like I'm hoping to be able to get into here and build a construction over here. Yes. Yeah, so if you're if we're in agreement on all of that, that it's what is needed is a whole string of construction offices and or gas stations. Like we don't always have to have a construction office. We could skip some space as long as there's a flat spot to put things where we can't. Just so you know, well, at one point I put this little road here, which I could probably delete. Like this is as far as we could flatten. So in other words, I know that the area of effect of this construction office, do we get that area effect? Nah, it would be nice if they put the area effect on like they do with the firehouses. So yeah, really what we need is to be able to export stuff. But in the meantime, we're not really making anything, so it is kind of important. And if we can get this food thing going, that's pretty important too, because then that will cut down on a large number of our expenses. If we just take a look at those real quick, like last month, where is it? Yeah, imports, right? So we're doing all Soviet imports. That's what's costing us the most. Well, I mean, you can't really count the construction things too much because fuel's costing us an awful lot. After that, the stuff for the people here, it's not really that expensive at this point, is it? No, it's really, look at that steel. It's killing us. Now, something else to say, and Radomir, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but if we come over to here, there's oil right here. So that's the other reason I'm wanting to get us, if we have a secondary goal besides getting that food and alcohol being made, like while we're doing that, if we work over to here, we have oil, and then we also have some coal right over here. So if we can get a town built up in this area, we could get oil, we could get coal. We're also closer to exporting to Soviet export points like this one. Where if we go this other direction, which kind of seems closer, it's fine in some ways, and there is some oil down over here. The problem is we only get dollars, and we can't buy vehicles with dollars. And that's really kind of it's a big issue, At some point, when you run out of rubles, then you just, that's it. You can't buy any more vehicles. So it's certainly better if we could get that. So what do you think? Yeah, what we need is something to export, in other words, and then a way to export it. And that's why I'm also curious if anybody knows, like, what happens with this town if we build a road, even if we kind of bypass it. Do they start escaping? Like, are people escaping from these other areas? They seem pretty happy. What about this town that's kind of close to where we built the farms? Are they? No, they seem... their happiness is better than it is. Like, we don't seem to have a happiness crisis there. If anybody's escaping, I think it's the people here. I think our busing idea is not a great one. And it's the same thing I ran into before. Like, do we just put more buses on it? Or is it just that the system is... We have 2 buses going back and forth already. I mean, I could put more buses, but then I'd say, well, why don't we just build our shopping center and our pub and then just sort of be done with it at that point, right? All right, look, we're almost... we got a fire coverage. There we go. Very good. Okay, so that was the priority there. priority and a half since we already lost the school, right? So I say we get them to build this. And since people are escaping and they're not real happy, well, we need to build this road. Probably could have had them building roads while they were sitting around doing nothing, huh? But we'll get them to build those roads, and we'll get the pub and this over here. And then I'm thinking that as soon as the pub and that are done, we don't have a cinema. So I think we need to lay down a cinema. I thought we had a cinema, though. I guess not. Obviously. Yeah, that's not really... We could put it all the way over there, but I want to kind of keep it... Yeah, see, it's that path that I have. These roads not being straight. These were the roads we inherited. Yeah, it won't fit in there. And it would fit over here, but it's getting kind of far, a little far from that bus stop. Like these people are already going to be traveling enough. Yeah, I think I can get a road in. Right? And then for now we're just going to do gravel road. Can we get it? Yeah, not really. No. That's all right. Wherever it ends up, it ends up. So what do you think we need? Are you generally in agreement, or anybody that is? So there's definitely a reoccurring theme, I think, whether you start on a populated map. I think the interesting thing about the populated map start so far is that, you know, we actually, in some ways, it's actually easier, especially if we start grabbing people out of here, right? I don't really want to do that. We don't need any more people in these houses, I don't feel. Yeah, we definitely need to get culture going, too. All right, so we're going to work on a little citizen happiness, I think, kind of first, right? Because we're not going to be allowed to import any more people. Not that we can't grab them out of those towns, but I want to make sure that they're not unhappy. Yeah, see, even without because they have the church, I don't necessarily think they even need to have the cinema, right? The problem with these people is that I don't think we're meeting... Well, look, those people are really happy. Why are these people? These people are just really... I guess they're too far from the bus stop, maybe? I tried to put it out here so they could walk to these two things. Then plus we could do like a whole row of them, right? Or not a whole row, but I don't know, three in a row. Hey, Pietro, welcome back. Well, apparently, Radomir, they won't escape until you start building in their area, right? Like they'll just stay here. Like you don't have to go around to each of the cities. And here's the thing: if we start building all that, we're going to run out of money, and then it'll be over, right? So I'm glad that is true. Like so, if we apparently these people are just going to contently sit there until we. Like they'll be okay. Like if you notice, they're not unhappy. They're not particularly happy, but they're not unhappy enough to escape, from what I understand. And again, this is my first time playing a populated map, so I'm not... That's what people had said in the past. Yes, Pietro. Yeah, we need to make money. And here's my thought. And I've said this a few times. Sorry for those of you that are rewatching this later at a later date. You know, this seems it's the closest, but this is also a NATO one, which is kind of fine. But then I think if we go over this way, we have oil right here and we have coal right here. And we're also working closer to being able to export to Soviet, which is over on like this side of the map. Say we could go to this Soviet right there, which is, you know, it's all kind of far, but And then we could also maybe move into this town and do something here. Well, yes, a brick factory, like right, if we look right here, um, it would be like under here, right? Well, what I want to do is say coal mine. We would, I mean, it would be better if we could build a coal mine and then provide that to the, so like right there is, not the world's greatest plop of coal, but it's coal. We can get this coal mine going. We could build a power plant and probably a bricks factory. Now, again, the problem with bricks factory is, would you ever pay back the amount of money it would cost you before you went in debt, right? Or ran out of money. Like you have to think of things that are going to make you money. Like, I don't even know if it's worth building all this food stuff, other than you're really only building a farm, which then gets you the alcohol, which is really kind of worth exporting, right? Like, because if you look at the prices of things, like you could make bricks until you're blue in the face. They only cost like 30 rubles. You know what I mean? Like, you're just never going to make money on bricks, and buying bricks, it's just never going to cost you that much money. You're probably better off just building brick buildings and importing the bricks, versus with the same amount of money we have, at least the alcohol is worth 10 times as much, right? And it's relatively easy to get going. Power, by the way, is worth, even though it says $1.24 here, power is worth selling, but we're not allowed to sell it. Power is worth selling because it doesn't cost you anything. Like, all you need to get is the line connected, right? Yeah, NATO is good, except I want to build up this way so we can get oil and coal going, right? Like, we could just, all we need to do is plop down an oil tank. And what is oil worth? Oil's worth, 47. So right off the bat, that's not the worst. But if we do start processing it, let's see, fuel is one of our biggest costs. What could we get with fuel? There it is. 132. And bitumen, there we go. We're going to pave a lot of roads, 215. So, there's a decent chance of selling those things off, at least get something coming in besides just the alcohol. So do we really want to build this way when we know we have, and again, this is not just my choice. It's obviously me, half having settled on something. This is definitely the way I think it's better to go, versus trying to pave all these roads down here. Now, the other big question I have as far as paving, if we pave past here, does that mean we have to take all the people out of this town? Like, or can we just pave these roads, right? And by the way, we don't have to pave to export. So, like, if we get this alcohol going, I'm perfectly willing to try to send a truck and see if it makes it to NATO. And if it makes it close enough, then yeah, it might be worth, it might definitely be worth it at that point. I went the wrong way on the river. If you build a brick factory, you're really not saving yourself that much. Let's see, how much does a brick factory cost? That would be my only thought about, I don't know why a brick factory. Why wouldn't we build a brick factory where we have our coal? Because if we pay the coal, then it's even less worth. Like, how much would we, I don't know if it, well, let's take a look at the brick factory first so we know what it costs, right? Like, so, because it's not always 1-to-1 on what you get. So brick factory is going to use 33 coal, and you're going to get 51 bricks. So you're going to get like, what's that, like 20 more bricks per coal. So we'll try to remember that. Now, keep in mind, you'll pay steel 30 tons, and then you have to buy a bunch of bricks and all that other stuff in the meantime, right? So let's see, how much will the coal cost us on the economy scale here? To buy in the coal is going to be 22. So you've got your profit even without considering that you have the cost of building the brick plant, you would only be making, like, you're not going to get 30 bricks for that, right? You're going to, like, if this is $30 worth, you're going to get like 2/3 more. So you're going to get like 50 for your coal price of 22. So keep in mind too that the trucks take a good amount of fuel to get up there and back. So it's going to cost us $200 or $300 for the truckload. So you have to take that off of it as well. So in other words, your truck's going to use fuel getting there and back. And how many would a truck even hold of fuel? If we go over to the depot, if we come here and just click on this and do, like, in other words, we have to justify $300 and $200 or $300 in fuel cost, but like for each truckload, which doesn't matter how much, open haul, right? So if we got this biggest one, it would hold 13. So we would be making about 30 for each one, assuming those prices don't change. So that's 30 times 13 or 10. If this holds 10 tons of bricks. So you're really not going to make money exporting bricks from the middle of the map. Like, it's not a money maker. It's just not. Not a significant one, even if you did make a few bucks or a few rubles. Hello, John. I just saw your chat here. Give me a second, guys. I want to catch up with the chats. Are coming a lot faster all of a sudden. I hope that makes sense, Radomir. I'm definitely not being argumentative, and we can definitely build a brick thing. I just don't know that we would want to do, like, any of these items on this list that are under $50 are not probably worth exporting. And if you want us to build brick houses, I have no problems with building brick houses. I don't know why bricks would. I mean, it's fine. I'm not in love with the prefab ones. Like, if we want to, heck, we've only built one house as it is, right? Now I'm completely lost and spun around. Let me find where home is. Over here somewhere. There. Yeah, I think I'm getting closer. Yeah, you know what? Let me close there it is. Sorry. All right. Let me read some chats and give you guys a chance to comment all those things I said. But yeah, I have no problem with building a brick factory over here. Again, the only issue I have is we only have 700,000, and we'll cut through that pretty quick. But let me read some chats and I'll be right. Well, I'll be here, but I'll be quiet. There we go, guys. I read through caught up on all the chats. So John, are you under an alias? John Lockett? Like when you go to Russia, you have an alias name? So, and anyway, hello, John Personage. Welcome back, I should say. And yeah, the brick I mean, is there any issue with waiting on the brick factory till we get to here? I don't really plan on building some massive number of houses anyway. Like, we've built one, and it's not like we might build another one, and I could build a brick one here. I have no issues with that. Maybe we can even plan it right now, right? Like I don't see it saving just some massive amount of money because, especially with this map, like we already have like these houses are like, look, 10 out of 120. It's only, and really the only thing we're running over here right now is this quarry, which could use 15 people, and these two things, and then if we put in the pub and all, like so, like each of these houses holds like 13, which isn't, it's not massive by any stretch of the imagination, but well, that only holds 6, but you get the idea. Like we have more than enough room for housing, like right over here right now. We have more than enough room and a half for again, all the farm workers, and like we don't have to build many houses. It's not like the blank map. So why don't we do, if it's okay, and if anybody else has an opinion, we'll build a brick factory when we get over to here. But really we don't need to build too many houses. And yeah, I absolutely, by the way, behind brick and power plant over here, and oil, like getting built over to this direction. Yeah, a railway. Yeah, I mean, the problem with the railway, if you look at our construction thing, if I were to have a problem with it, and we look at our imports, long run or short run, this year, steel is our biggest expense, and we haven't done anything like building a railway, right? Like, in other words, even for the little bit of steel we've used, we've spent 32,000 of our dollars. Can we really even afford? Like, I have no idea what a railway would cost to go over there, but like we're just talking a massive amount of steel, and it might be cheaper in the long run, but to try to get a railroad all the way up to here, is that you're talking hundreds of thousands of our dollars just dedicated to building that. Like, I know that this power plant will probably cost us a couple 100,000, right? Or whatever, over 100,000 just to build the power plant. So it's like, I kind of would rather have power, so that like anything this would be my vote. And again, remember guys, even if I'm being argumentative, nothing has happened, right? So don't worry. We haven't really decided anything at this moment. We've just been more talking and waiting for buildings to be built than anything else. If we start looking at like this, the things that we're spending money on, like bricks is definitely costing us money here because of something that we're building. Probably was that this last month? I bet you the firehouse used a bunch of bricks. In any event, bricks did cost us a fair amount last month. But if we look at this year, which is the grand total, right, of everything we've ever spent, electrical components, just those few electrical components, 23,000. But if we can cut back on our regular expenses, then as our population goes up, the people we're taking care of, like, clothing and electronics. Well, we're not going to get into electronics anytime soon, but clothing is another one to get. And one of the big ingredients is crops. Bricks, 10,000. I mean, you're right. That's absolutely not insignificant. Pietro, I'm reading back through some of the comments as I'm kind of actually trying to go through them. What is the most cost-effective truck then? I just like the biggest one because it carries the most. And usually I'm not, like, in that logic, I'm not really worried about the exact efficiency. But if you know of a truck that is somehow more efficient then I'm fine with buying that or whatever the case is. Let's go over to the depot. But, like if we were to, like the other issue is just the amount of time it takes to get there, right? Like, I'm not sure if we want, like some of these other ones, what do we want? Open haul. Where the heck is open haul? There it is. This one, when it comes to like what is the most efficient, is it like kilowatts per ton? Like I would say if it's kilowatts per ton, then this biggest one is definitely more efficient than this one because these two are the same kilowatts. Yet this one holds almost twice as much, and then this one's more kilowatts and it holds a little bit less. So I would think that that's less efficient because it's more kilowatts. This one's less kilowatts, but not like this one only holds like about a third as much. Yet it's like it's more than half the kilowatt. So in other words, it's definitely, this is not the most efficient if that's right. Yeah, and this one holds almost nothing. So it's like, I think in this case, if it's the engine power that's making it less efficient, like they're not giving us the fuel economy, right? Then this one, if it's kilowatts per ton makes it efficient, then, which would make sense, right? If you're using a certain amount of kilowatts, you're using a certain amount of energy, fuel, If you count the price of the vehicle or the price of the fuel. Like, in other words, they seem pretty relative. Like the price seems pretty closely related to their ability to haul things, though if anything, I would say this is like 420 per price per ton, where these seem higher because this does about half as much, but it's not half the price. So even by the price per thing, this biggest one is in this open haul category anyway, is the. So ton per price. I'm not sure what you mean by ton per price. Ton per price of what? Price of the vehicle? Or price of, like, again, like fuel cost us 300. So within 10 trips, we've bought any one of these trucks over. So it seemed to me that the amount of fuel they use would be a very significant factor in that. But then it transports double the amount of the big one, and also the power matters for fuel consumption. So yeah, so for fuel consumption, the big one here is the most efficient per ton. Like, in other words, the least kilowatts per ton. And then as far as the price goes, no, I mean, none of them are significantly, like, if I just divide the number of tons by the price, like this is 3.6, but the price, like this carries 3 times as much almost, and it's not 3 times the price. Like this one's price is cheaper per ton. Same with all of these. So I'm not sure I follow. Okay. So in other words, like no matter what, at least with the one vehicle, you could be right. I mean, we only looked at the one, and I don't know how much I want to think about it, like overall, like, but it does seem to me that the big one is the most efficient per both of our different efficiency measurements, right? All right, now do we have? Yeah, look, these roads are done. So I'd like to get. Do we have people escaping? They're happier than they were, but I still think let's get the happiness going here. Plus, I think it'll be pretty easy construction for this guy, right? Like, because it's right next door kind of thing. So we'll get this worked on next. Okay. If we go back to this and go to open haul, and you're saying the littlest one's the most efficient, and I'm going to get my calculator out on the other computer, and I'm going to say you're going to spend $885, and then you're going to divide that by 0.8, right? Because that's going to be price per ton. 0.8. So the price per ton is $1,100 for a round number, right? If we take this one at 4,296 and divide it by the number of tons, which is 10, it's $420 per ton. So even if you're not allowing for the difference in fuel, this one is more efficient because it only costs you $420, well, call it $430 per ton, right? Where this one, because it only holds 0.8 bricks, is going to be $1,000 per ton. So it's 3 times less cost effective to buy this one. If you mean by this one being the smallest one. Now, if you do the same thing with fuel, right? Now, I'm assuming the number of kilowatts is the amount of fuel, right? Like kind of directly related. Like the same thing is true. Like, you know, this one is more effective, more efficient than any of the other ones. Like, you know, if this gets per ton, it's 11.8 kilowatts, right? 10 divided into 118. This one, if we do the same thing, is 54 kilowatts divided by, oops, my calculator messed up. 54 divided by 0.8. This is 67 kilowatts per ton, right? So in other words, to move 1 ton, you're going to use 67 kilowatts, where to move 1 ton here, you're only going to move 11. This one uses the same kilowatts, and price-wise, I could just, or, you know, if you're talking about the price of the vehicle, this holds half as much, but the price of this one isn't half as much. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm certain that there are places that the smaller trucks could be used more efficiently, and I'm completely open to hearing how they're more efficient. And I'm definitely not being argumentative. I'm being a mechanical engineer about it. You know, I'm using my engineering degree right now and saying, well, no, I don't see it, you know. Show me. You know, I literally have a mechanical engineering degree, and I'm just not seeing how. Now, maybe there's some game mechanic that I'm missing too. Trust me, I've been wrong more than once in my life, and especially about games and making assumptions about how they work, you know. Yeah, the big one. Yeah, hey, if you guys can explain to me how they're more efficient, I'm not opposed to them. You know, I wish they were more efficient, like you guys were saying. I want them to be like I always used to build these houses until they did some changing to the houses because they're the most efficient. You know, like it's just you get more people. How many people total does this hold? 75 people in this little tiny footprint, right? And then you could put like 4 of these across there. They're still the most efficient, by the way, even with the changes. Because if like in this space, you could put like 4 of these probably in this little area, maybe just 3, but whatever. And you know, 4 times 75 is going to be, you know, 300 people all in this little space. There's no other house that you could lay into that same amount of space that would be as efficient. And there doesn't seem to be any negative penalty for them being like, you know, where you could spit into your neighbor's window, like, from the other building. Like, you could jump from building to building, you put them so close. Like, there doesn't seem to be like a negative, the neighbors are too close kind of thing. And like, if you go look at these other buildings here, like, this is probably close to one of the most efficient. Again, I'm not talking about the cost of buying it. Like, this one holds, 189. And so that's like 2/3 of the people. And if you look, like, it's 2/3 of the people that you could get in 3 of these. And there's just no doubt you could put 3 of those other buildings right in the same space, right? So eventually you get bored with building the same buildings. And that's, I'm pretty sure that's like the most effective. Like, these brick flats aren't too bad, but they still don't hold nearly, like, this one holds 162, but it's, again, that's about half the people, and it's certainly going to use up more space. So you'd have to put 2 of these someplace, and that's going to be more than just 3 or 4 of these in a row. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I wish they, with the Ravio, I probably said your name wrong. Maybe I said it right. But is the load amount taken? It seems like they go slower at times. So I would assume that they're always, when they're, like, if you look at a vehicle, I would assume that when it's probably based on this engine RPM, right? So if they're going full speed, I bet you they're like, this is the way I would do it anyway. If you're, just to kind of keep it somewhat, see, like, when he's going full speed, he's probably at full RPMs, right? And then he's probably using the full kilowatts and using up that amount of, like, the full amount of fuel that he would use. I doubt they're going to be like a real vehicle where if you're running at this RPM, you're actually getting better economy than if you're running at a high RPM. It's probably linear, in other words. So what I would think is that when these trucks get on these long hauls, they're probably using their maximum fuel as long as they're going, with the high RPMs, whatever their normal high RPMs are. Now, again, who knows? They could have modeled that far more sophisticated, though I don't think you would, just for the sake of the game's efficiency. Like, you'd ask the processor to be processing a lot more for no real gain. So here's what I would say is that if you're on a flat, and this is true in real life, by the way, like, if you're on a flat part and you have, like, it's really very little difference for a truck on a flat road, whether it's hauling a full load or a light load. Like, the real difference comes in all the stops and the starts and the hills. And it doesn't mean there's not a significant difference. What it really means, though, because most of going down the road is going to be like wind resistance. And when you're going up this hill, now you're pulling the weight up the hill. And that's really where the difference shines. Like, so even if there is a, quote, percentage-wise significant difference, you're just not using as much fuel to go straight down the road on a flat road, right? Like, so when you talk about a vehicle's fuel efficiency, and it's the reason, like, when you buy a car, at least I know in the United States, and I'm sure it's the same in other countries, they give you this rating for the highway where you get 36 miles. Well, we use miles here. Whatever you get over there, that's normal. We get miles rating for the highway, and it's usually like half in a lot of cases for, like, city driving. And that's because the stopping and starting is when the mass of the vehicle comes into play, right? Other than that, it's a lot of aerodynamics, mostly. Let's turn off this wireframe. Hello, Slovako. I'm Dominitas. I hope you have a short. Can I call you Slavko? Or something slightly shorter? But welcome. Yeah, and there are some cars, that show you, like, power and stuff. I mean, when you fly airplanes, a lot of the airplanes, like, when the pilots see the rating on the airplane, like, they go by, like, there's a power estimate on their engines. So that they, because for that reason, I guess for cars, most people don't worry about it that much. Do you really need to know the power of your car? But yeah, I think that, yeah. The other thing to say about the bigger vehicles, you could argue a little bit, is that there's less of them. So therefore they're going to cause less traffic jams and problems and issues, which could be significant depending on your circumstances. In other words, buying the little one there, you would need 12 of them to do the same thing that the one big truck would do, and that would be 12 more 12 more trucks on our roads, which wouldn't necessarily be a good thing. That's a little different. Yeah, so like buying the little ones, you could end up with little traffic nightmares potentially. But yeah, it could be worth a test, to see some of those things. I don't know how much it matters. I mean, there's certainly a curiosity factor to it. But yeah, so we'll get this. We could probably speed up some time if you guys. The comments seem to have slowed down a little bit. How are we doing here? Pretty slowly. We're doing pretty slowly everywhere. Yeah, we're holding our people. And, the busing thing. Yeah, see, they're just not getting over there to get all these needs met very well from this house. Now, I think they're. Yeah, see, look, they're not able to enjoy culture, but they're getting over there. So I think for these people, part of the problem is that they're kind of far from this bus stop. How far are they if we use our... This is definitely on my wish list, like a measuring tool of sorts, where you can just click here and then click over there. But if we hold this over here, they're really not that far, not far. They're 183 away from the bus stop. Now, you know what we could do? Yeah, we could definitely, let's put a footpath. Yeah, let's assign our construction guy to run over there and put that footpath in. You know what? You might as well build this footpath while you're at it. And while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. That would cut off, like they have to walk all the way around to the entrance. Not that it's that much further, but it's just not going to hurt. Like this guy, he's going the other place. Oh yeah, you're going to work up here, aren't you? Good for you. Yes, Revio. I'm not sure when you stepped in or just for the people who've come, but there's oil right up here, and I heard Pietro mention he wanted oil first. There's oil right here, so once we get a little more settled, I think I'd like to we'll keep working on everything we can, but I'm all for setting up another construction over here. We're going to have to get power over there, and by our own rules, we're not allowed to run power unless we've paved the road, so I'd like to get this road paved and get this built. And because we already have roads, we could talk about, do we get this guy in here? Well, no, because then he'll run out of... See, if we don't have power up here, then our problem is the gas station doesn't work, and then they become just massively inefficient if they have to come all the way back to this gas station at that point, right? Hey, Seb, welcome. Welcome back. So yeah, let's keep this guy open for a minute, just so we can keep an eye on what he's doing. This is what I tend to do when I'm just playing alone, especially when you're starting out and you only have one thing there. One construction office is not that hard to keep track of. At least I hope it's not that hard for you to keep track of. We'll keep an eye, make sure they're not having any issues and pop-ups. When we first started, or restarted, let's say, we still have this problem. So I'm assuming I could, let's get this shopping center built. We got all our resources over there. It shouldn't, like I said, it shouldn't take long because we're right next door. And then I definitely Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. The culture doesn't seem to be bothering these people. And it seems to me that they don't have to have all of their needs met in order to be happy. They just have to have enough of them met. Like, so it's not the end of the world if they have a, if you have a few citizens that can't get culture. See, look, they're like really happy people. And let's check on that. I want to check while we've a little more time. I've heard, and maybe you guys know for sure, but yeah, see, these people over here, their happiness doesn't seem to be going down. So from what I understand, it's only when you go, quote, move into the town that you start having a problem. Now, I'm not sure, are we going to be able to build things fast enough over here that they won't all escape before those things are built, since we're on like hard mode? Like, should we move all the people out of here and then like move them back in? Same thing, like we're going to have to come, well, I think we'll come like close to this town. Like, will they get unhappy? And then my other big question, and no one seems to know, is, I want to pave the road through here. I might even cut the top of this hill off and just, go more straight, not go all the way around there like that. If we pave this road, will they become unhappy? Hey, Postal 83, welcome. Yes, I hope they keep. There's definitely some things I'd like to see added to the game. I hope the devs keep working on it. They seem to be. They don't. They're from what I understand, it's a small crew, so it's understandable. But they're certainly not adding things at a blazing speed, right? I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying, like, your expectations could be higher at times than they're putting them out. So, and some of it is, I think they were getting past the bugs and the complaints, and they've modified some things. But yeah, there's definitely some things I'd like to see. I'm still not happy personally with the leveling, and my issue now, like, I've come to peace with the faster leveling because I just level more stuff, right? But I did like that there was more strategy when it was harder to level. But even getting over that place, like, where does the dirt come from and where does the dirt go? Like, if you want to make your game realistic, like, you could just literally, like, be very time consuming, but we could fill this with like 100 meters of dirt through this whole area, right? Like I would like to see where you would have to go get dirt from someplace if you wanted to put dirt here. If you wanted to level this, you would actually have to take the dirt away and put it someplace. Maybe you could have like dirt stockpiles or something, like a storage yard for dirt, where you would put some dirt when you wanted it in one place. And I think that would be a fair, like, you could still have the leveling tools be very powerful, but when you went out to level, like, it wouldn't actually level it. It would just let you show an area to be leveled, and then like trucks would have to come up and level it or something. But there's a lot of ideas. I love the fact that these guys, that you have this extra strategy of needing these construction offices. That's why I pretty much always play it without much auto building, just for that reason. All right, it looks like we're getting towards the end of a lot of these projects, right? Well, one's just a footpath anyway. So that means we could probably, and I like to judge, I could see trucks sitting around doing nothing, right? So why don't we, and by the way, the rule is not that you can't build power lines unless you've built an asphalt road. So we could build a construction office here, which would allow us to put a bulldozer and a dumpster there and then like skip. But eventually you're going to need to run the power lines anyway, right? Like, just because eventually you're going to run out of fuel is your problem. Like, if you don't have a power here, you don't have fuel, and that's a bigger problem. Milk cistern trucks. Yeah, I mean, definitely have them here in America. I mean, you see like milk trucks. We don't really call them like to us a cistern. That's not the word we would. Tanker trucks is usually what we would call them here. But yeah, milk tankers, refrigerated milk tankers, are not uncommon to see moving around. Yeah, dairy. Yeah, there's definitely some. Well, I was looking at the road map the other day, and they definitely seem to be working on automotive industry. I forget what other ones they had mentioned, but yeah, I think they're going to add more industries. I'm hoping too. Like I see that they want to do Steam Workshop, so like I think they would be smart to get like they're what was the thing they were like a map generator or whatever, map editor, which is nice. I mean, I can see why that would be a nice thing, but like I'd rather have the Steam Workshop up first, right? Because you know how if we could get some creative modders, like those guys can take the fuel cistern system and combine it with the like with the cattle farm, and next thing you've got milk cisterns acting like the fuel cisterns do, and you see what I'm saying? Like I think that they would be smarter to get the Steam Workshop going. In other words, how are we doing on that road? Well, we're paving, which is good. And there goes some. What is that? Oh, there goes our bulldozer. Good. Yeah. So as soon as we get, well, the construction crew, getting this construction build is fine, but we really want to start getting that paved. Well, let's get. But I really wanted to get this. I think all these other roads we made gravel, right? Well, this one's not. So we'll get this paved. Well, yeah. I mean, we really don't need this silo to get going. Like we could hold off. But yeah, I made all these gravel. I remember that. So that way we don't need asphalt. And then we don't need to attach this guy up once that gets done. That should probably be asphalt. But like, in other words, we can take, this has a fair storage area. It's not as good as this, but I'd rather get like our distillery and our food factory built before I worried about that silo if it's a choice between the two. Moloko. Yeah, I would have to say most of the milk trucks that you see here, or like the big tankers or whatever, are like stainless steel. Like big stainless steel tubes. Yeah, I haven't seen the Chernobyl movie. I have watched quite a few documentaries about it, and it's definitely an interesting thing that happened there, isn't it? And the thing is for all the environmentalists of the world, unless they get unless they nuclear is the way to go as far as greenhouse gases are concerned. So if you're really concerned about not having coal, like look at Germany. Germany got rid of all their nuclear power plants, and now their CO2 emissions have like now gone up. So it's sort of like, nuclear is a pretty darn clean fuel. And, obviously if you have a catastrophe, then that's a pretty big issue. But, and you do end up with the spent fuel rods and all that kind of thing. But a lot of cases, apparently, they can be like re-energized and to some degree reused, right? Oh, look, there we go. So now we have, let's get this thing purchasing, right? Just one click each. There's another little improvement. I wish you could buy less meat, because like these other ones, you can buy like a percentage. But if you try to supply this guy, you can't, unless you guys know a way, like you can't hit control and just get like 1/10 of a ton of meat or something. Does that make sense? So anyway, let's get that going. So if we get some shoppers, there we go. So we got some shoppers. These people, yeah, their happiness is slowly plugging on up, though we are losing some people. That could just be because they're dying of old age or whatever, but And I'm not going to worry about building them a pub as long as their happiness. Let's see what this does for their happiness, because I have a feeling that they'll get happier because they'll spend less time having to take the bus. Like they can get some of their needs met here now. And then when they do, the limited times they have to take the bus to go to the sporting events, I think that'll work out better. Certainly will be an improvement, right? All right, so now we're only working on that road. So let's go get them working on this road since they're not actually hauling anything there. And then might as well put a little gravel road in here now that that other one's done. And you know what? Just so it's done and we're ready. Yeah, and then while they're paving this road, that'll give us a chance, I think. Like, we'll get these things done while we can, and that won't take long to pave this and this. Now, what do we want to... Do we want to get this done first? No, Ravio's right. There was some tests. I don't know if they did it. Did they do it to deliberately make a lake? But I know there's quite a few lakes in like Siberia or over on the eastern side of Russia that, were made by nuclear explosions. I didn't know that they did it deliberately, but I know that they created some lakes with nuclear weapons. And then didn't tell a bunch of the people how dangerous it was, kind of thing. Maybe they didn't even know themselves quite how dangerous it was, in all fairness. Those were the early days of that kind of thing. But there was definitely some towns that were kind of like a bit of a cover-up as to the dangers that people were facing. Good, there goes our dump truck. We'll get that done. Let me look something up here real quick. The most interesting thing for our future with the power, and let me just see where they're at with it real quick, is the idea that they would have a fusion reactor that they're trying to build in France. That's the first time that apparently the problem with doing fusion, you could take hydrogen and slap it together and get energy out of it. It wouldn't have any nuclear waste. You'd literally be putting off water more or less, or just extra hydrogen gas, or what, depending on exactly what you use. But the problem is you need this containment vessel it gets really complicated. I won't get into it here, but if they can build it big enough, they think they can make it it takes this huge amount of energy to build this containment to get the fusion reactor going. I'm sorry, fusion reactor going. But once they get it working, they could actually build multiples of these big plants and then put a huge amount of energy into them. But they could use the other plants and they'd actually get excess fuel. And so when you think about it, it's basically you could use water to run the thing. The fuel would be water, kind of pure water, I'm sure, but that would be really cool. Yeah. Well, I think they need to learn lessons. The dangers of radiation are a bit overblown. In other words, it depends on who you talk to, but even the people that were are so anti-radiation, do you know how many people have died because of radiation at Chernobyl after the initial, other than the workers that were killed by it? It's been extremely low, a lot lower than you would think. It's not tens of thousands of people. There might be 1,000 people who were affected, and most of them lived. They treated the cancer, and I mean, again, not good that they got radiated at all, but it's I don't know. Look at what happened with Japan. For all the issue they had with their nuclear problem that they had at their power plants, it hasn't been the end of their civilization. I mean, life is going on there. They have to stay out of certain areas, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but when you compare that to global warming and CO2 emissions, because, the vast majority of the CO2 emissions come from power plants, whether it's oil fired or coal fired. If you could eliminate all the coal fired and oil fired power plants of the world, you know, let's talk about how do we make those nuclear plants safer than, where the tidal wave can't come and wipe out all the backup generators, and where you don't do nuclear experiments on a running power plant type thing. I think you could, potentially learn from the accidents of the past with the nuclear and maybe even make it safer. And, I'm not arguing that it shouldn't be safe, or as safe as humanly possible anyway. There you go, Seb. Yeah, I just think nuclear should be on the table. I understand people are concerned about it. I'm not dismissing those concerns. And again, we need to make it as safe as humanly possible. And when you look at what happened in Japan, if you look at what happened at Chernobyl, they didn't make it as safe as humanly possible, right? I mean, it's the fact. Like, whatever. And I'm not blaming anybody, in particular, just saying, like, if they had made it as safe as humanly possible, those things wouldn't have happened. Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys are aware, but take a look at the fusion reactor that they're building in France. I mean, it really has a lot of potential. And, they since the 70s, they worked on a lot of those things. But believe me, if they get that going, it's going to be a revolution in power like we've never seen, it's going to end the whole nuclear debate, because, of course, you're going to do that, right? All right, let's keep I do love the conversations, but to some degree, we probably should keep it a little bit on the game. So we've got a bunch of little unfinished roads. We'll keep them. I think our problem is probably getting people to the places we need them, I would think. Are we getting people up to these? Like, why are we not? I think that's the problem here. Is they're just little, yeah, see, we got one worker. Let's see, how long has he been working, or work shift? So he's still got a while to go, but it's like one worker, right? So it's not, that's all right. If, that's fine. The only problem is if we start paving, I don't want to stick that person, like, I don't want a bus to get stuck up there by the paving crew if we can help it. That's about my biggest concern there. Yeah, and going back to the fusion thing, it's really, really cool technology. I mean, and yeah, if they can ever get one built, and they think, I mean, theoretically, they're going to build this thing, and it's going to put out, it's going to, like, they're literally planning on, like, browning out the whole area, like, in order to run this one thing, like, in other words, like, they're going to shut down all the businesses that use a lot of power in the area to, like, tell them to stop using electricity while they run their first experiments. But once they can build that one and prove it works, they could build like 6 more, and it would just, you'd need multiple ones to produce enough power, but you could do it. And the net effect of the whole plant, the multiple plants would be a net positive. All right, so how are we doing here? We're just plugging along. We're about halfway through the live stream, being in the 3:30 neighborhood anyway. And we have barely, like, and I'm on fast forward mode. Now we could talk about how is our people, oh look, we're happy. So you know what I want to do? let's steal the people from this town. How does that sound? Does anybody have any kind of issue with that? Like, we never made a rule to say we can't relocate people, right? So I'm going to try to just get as many of these houses open. I don't want the city name. Oh, that's the church. So let me grab all the ones systematically along the road here. And then we'll come back up and get the other ones. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can do them all. I don't know if the game will crash if I open. I don't know how many times I've ever opened up this many. But yeah, let's get some more people. There does definitely seem from our last Let's Play to be a certain... Yeah, so we've gotten all of them up. We didn't get this cluster. So let's, like I said, I don't want to crash the game with 72 windows open. And I think we're just going to... Yeah, I mean, these people are reasonably happy. So let's just dump them into here. We'll put this one on this side so we can see how many we have in there. Yeah, this one. Well, this is laborious. One at a time, more or less, right? Good. But now, I probably would have done this earlier if I had seen happiness that was higher, but I just sort of wanted to confirm that we had some high happiness. And I don't really see us ever really wanting a city right there, right? Now, I'd be curious to see, we only have one adult worker. Like, do they make, like, does the game actually really consider that a man and a woman need to make a baby? There we go. So we got a bunch more workers. I know, well, not a bunch, but we got more workers, which can't hurt. Yeah, I have a pretty decent computer. It's getting to be a couple years old now, but I bought, this is the first, I've built my own computers in the past, and it's gone well sometimes and not as well others. So I decided to just, this time I splurged and spent like $2,200 on a pretty decent computer. I think I had given Steve the link, CPU Solutions or something like that. But it seemed like a, you know, fair enough price for, I didn't want to get, you know, I mean, some computers, like, you know, watch out for the Walmart computers. Like they, you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys have Walmart in your country, but I'm sure you're familiar with Walmart. You know, like they sound good, but they're not. You know, they're really just not very good computers. And I also didn't mess around with RAM. Like, in other words, I think I have like 16 gigabytes of RAM on the graphics card and 32 gigabytes of RAM on the computer. So it's like, you know, I could run a small African nation with the amount of RAM that I have on this computer, kind of thing. And believe it or not, you know, that's probably actually true. Not just an exaggeration. All right, there we go. So I think that town's completely empty. How many did we end up with? 32. So good. So that should definitely get us more people, because these guys, where are they getting their workers from? Yeah, let's see. Where is that? Oh, no, you're getting them from in town here. So you should have pretty good workers, but that'll get us a few more people over here. And I think they should be, Yeah, because, well, we'll just make sure these stay running. That'll be good. We got them out of the way so that if we do build our road through here, that we're not going to get them all unhappy. Yeah, it's an i7. I'm forgetting all the exact specs at this point, but it's an i7 quad core, um, like 4.2 gigahertz, and then it's got a 1070 graphics card, NVIDIA. Well, of course, if you know the graphics cards numbers. So it's nice. Then it also has an SSD, which I know and still don't understand the argument against SSDs, but it's got a like 500 terabyte SSD. So I don't think that hurts with certain games. So this isn't necessarily the kind of game, like if you can load your whole game into RAM, that's the key. And then the other thing is it depends on the developers and how they do the game, because if they use threading a lot, then you can take advantage of more processing, right? Like, so if they don't multi-thread a game, it's like you just have one processor. That's not totally true, because you can, like, your second processor will run the game while your first one is running your Windows or whatever other operating system. But yeah, so yeah, it runs pretty smooth. Now, I will say there's a little bit on the other map, if you watch the regular series, now that we're getting like more and more stuff going on, like it's getting a little bit like glitchy, like like that. So, oh look, are we done this road? No. What are you doing now? That was just a long road, huh? No workers. Now, I don't think we want to send, we got, how many do we have over here? None. I don't want to get a bus stuck here, but I do want to pave. We'll start getting this road paved. Hopefully, do we have actual workers on that bus? One. So why do we have so few workers? And where did we say they were going? Coming from? Stevengrad regular bus stop. So you're coming over here to get, well, we got 10 workers. Yeah, you don't seem to be, maybe it's just timing. You get one and drop them off here. Yeah, well, you only have 9 work days. Well, hopefully, do we only have one bus in this? I definitely want to get another construction thing going, kind of ASAP. In the other Let's Play series, I think we're up to about 20,000 the last time I looked. And I don't think it's... I tend to, because I stay paused at times, I don't... not as much time goes forward in my series as a lot of other, if you've watched other people's Let's Plays. And plus the fact that more of the other Let's Players are likely to build things with dollars, which speeds things up a whole lot. Like if I was just building more with dollars and not always building with almost always, without many exceptions, like I always use the construction crews, that really slows the game down a lot, and that's where like population, just, I made a suggestion. I don't know if they're going to change it, but I wish that they would let you adjust the reproduction rate, even if it's just like high, medium, and low, because when you're doing this kind of construction, whether you realize it or not, it's generally speaking, you got a lot more time for people to sit around and make babies while you're waiting for all this construction to go. Like even now, when you think about what we're doing here, we're mostly just waiting on this one dumb construction crew to get these things done. All right, so now that he's, let's click on him. I think he might only have, not too many jobs. Yeah, I really want you to get this here finished before... Are you sending a bus up there even? See, part of the problem is when they get split. All right, so what we're going to do is when this road is done, This is another reason I like to have at least two, because, and when you make a paving crew, don't put any buses in there. Because, like, this guy has buses, so what, or at least, see, he only has one bus. So what he's doing is he's bringing people sometimes up to here, and he really doesn't need to, right? Like, just send all your people to this one that can't put a mechanism. Like, there's no mechanism for this one, but they'll drop off workers here instead of up to here. Now, your problem is when you do that, then you can't do these little tiny jobs that require people. But, like, if we could divide this in half, see, here comes another bus. Now, tell me you have more than one person on there. Two. Okay, well, that's not quite what I meant. But I think you might be able to get it done now. So I just don't want that bus getting stuck when we start to pave this road. I don't think... I'm not going to be such a fuddy-duddy. We'll just start building from here. Like, these roads don't need to be paved, but just these main ones. And again, that's just more to make it harder. Nothing other than that, just to make it more of a challenge. We'll see how it goes. Now, we really haven't spent too much money this episode. So we're in pretty good shape as far as that is concerned. Look like we're going to get these done almost at the same time. Good. All right, so that's done. We shouldn't have any more buses up there. Let's go ahead and get the basic paved road. And yeah, you know what? We're going to start from wherever's easy here. Yeah. Ooh, that's a nice... Wait, where does that road end? All right, there we go. So... yeah, let's assign that guy to that one. And I might as well come up here since we're... It's only 2 construction jobs to get all the way up to there, huh? Now, I don't care if we pave this gravel road. Like, that'll be good enough. So, as a matter of fact, now that we have... yeah, now that we have that going, I think what we should do, well, yeah, what I'm thinking is that we don't need a lot of power. Like, we're just going to run power up. Well, this was a debate the last time. Do we run a big power line? I think maybe we should in this case, because our real goal is to start building a city up here, or at least deal with these people. And if you guys have played the populated maps, do I need to take these people out of here before I start plopping down, or as I start plopping down our first shopping center, or will they escape that quickly? Like, if we don't know, well, you know what, their happiness there doesn't seem to, well, I guess it just depends on who you click on. Yeah, how is, like, escapes going? I don't think we should have many escapes from, let's do this year. 24. So we've got a few escaping, not the kind that you would worry about. Consider them, yeah, but see, we're net negative. So I'm wondering if they don't give birth and all either. Like, I really don't understand the mechanism. Like, are they just completely stagnated here? Like, do we really want to start moving these people out? For other reasons? Like... you know, if we don't, like Radomir had made the suggestion that we need to build up the towns earlier. And I said, well, I don't think they escape because I think they stay happy, but do they die on us? Like will all these people just die or do they keep reproducing, and will they kind of stay semi-self-sufficient if we just ignore them? Because we're not allowed to import any more people. Oh, our asphalt plant's not going. Yeah. How many people? Did we have 32 or 36? Like, are we losing people? I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know, because I'd never have played. I'd hate to have us fail because we're not importing people, and I could be, even though it's not a lot of fun, like stealing people from this town. Probably go around and steal them out of the little houses anyway, but is that gonna... I don't want to necessarily Like, in other words, I took all the people from this town. I don't necessarily want to mess with this town and then cause something worse to happen that I didn't realize. But again, let me know if you guys know or have an idea of how that works. Otherwise, I might have to conduct some experiments. Human experiments, right? But yeah, we're definitely... Well, we took in some people, so I think that brought our happiness down. So enjoy culture. But again, because they have a... Yeah, see, I think that we're in pretty good shape. I think this will go up. They should be able to take the bus. How is our... Yeah, we got sellers here. We've got meat. They should be happy. I hope they're happy. We're paving a road. That's good. You know what? We don't have to go through the whole asphalt stage. So let's... I think another thing we could do here, even though it's sort of a big one, is get this university built, because that's going to become an issue for us before too long. Hello, Monica. Welcome. And we are... Yeah, let me... Oops, what am I doing? Oh, right here. You know what? Paving these roads is not going to be that bad, is it? Oh, it doesn't connect. Okay. Well, do we really want that to be a gravel road? Here, let me... I guess we're all gravel roads, aren't we? Let me get rid of all that just for a second so that we can build it in one shot, and then we'll connect it up when we get done. Since it was, yeah, I just find that to be a lot more effective, especially when you only have one construction crew struggling their butts off. Now the other question is, now that we're up to here, yeah, we can get this road going. And I think I will make this one asphalt as well. And then we might as well, even though we might reduce our overall efficiency a little bit, get that going. Keep them with a number of jobs. Keep as many of these trucks moving. Yeah, see, we really should probably be building a building, but there's no building. Now the cinema, which I'm just not... See, they seem to be very happy with the cinema. And I think if these people over here aren't terribly happy, which they are, you know, I think it's just that it's taken them quite a while to travel there by the bus, to get all the way over here. By the time they get in the sporting event, unless it all happens for them really well. Like if we look here, 7 citizens couldn't get any sport. Well, that's probably some of the people we just moved over there, right? And no kindergarten. Yeah, I'm not going to build them kindergarten just yet. Let me know what you guys think of those things. But yeah, what we really kind of want... You know what I'm thinking that we should do is maybe pull some vehicles out of here. Like if we were to take this tower crane and put them in here and send them to over here, why don't we buy 2 more dump trucks? Because I think that would really help speed us up. And then it's not like we wouldn't use those dump trucks in the future. Right? See that, look, immediately, well, the one guy comes right back, but you know, like with all those little road projects, and then eventually when we do make one of these guys like out here, he'll be like a road paving crew, right? Even if he's got to drive all the way back for the asphalt. So it's not like we won't use those dumpers in the near future. Sound fair enough? Cool. I think so. I think that makes sense. Extra dumpers won't hurt. And then really, we only have one bus. That's kind of a bit of an issue too. I don't think it affects. Yeah, see the lack of dumpers. He's sitting there just waiting for asphalt. Our asphalt plant's not popping up messages here, so yeah. See, all our dump trucks are immediately in use. Yeah, I found a good dumper crew. Not dumper crew. Good paving crew. You want plenty of dumpers. You know that's your paving will go much quicker if you have that. Here goes a crane. Yeah, and then it doesn't hurt to have these two in a paving crew, though you probably could get by with one or the other or two, you know, because you'll need them on the. I mean, you don't need them, but for the bigger paving jobs, it definitely makes it go quicker. You know, these little ones, you just need people. So the covered haul is good to have if you're going to be doing regular, like the fancy roads, but you really don't need the covered haul. But yeah, do we make this? Yeah, see how the covered haul and the cement mixer, you know, are pretty much useless in a paving crew. So, but I don't necessarily want to switch this guy fully over to a paving crew either, because I want to get building some things, right? I just thought we'd take advantage. Like, so we even probably want to bring that crane back, but even for the temporary. So maybe we will. I don't think it's going to hurt. Let's take this guy out as well. Put him in here, and we'll get one more dumper. Because like I said, we'll get a paving crew, and we'll use these dumpers in our paving crew. Watch, he'll probably roll out almost immediately. Yep, see that? And then it's just not going to hurt. Even if we have that, that'll get our big problem is getting roads paved and built. So we can get this guy to be the road paving crew. Yeah, because we're really going to be, even if we pave something over here, you can pave with a regular crew. But see, like these guys waiting here for more gravel. At least now we're moving. We should have the, oh, yeah, we're going to want to, these are both paved roads, so they're going to be, but this guy's waiting for gravel. This guy's waiting for people. And that's the other thing. Our paved crew, like I said, won't have a bus. So we won't have to worry about workers from over there. Now we should probably worry about the fuel. Oh yeah, so let's. Yeah, let me take a vote. There's a few of you here and mostly participating. Do you guys think we should run big power? Right, we have a substation here. We have a switch, right? Is that a switch? Yeah, so we have a switch here. Let's see which direction it's facing. My thought is that, you know, we plan on getting an oil industry up from the early voting. And we plan on getting bricks up and a coal. And I think we're going to need that extra power. So I think I'd rather see us, rather than being cheap about this gas station. Now, the other thing is that if we just run this line around here, we get the gas station and this. You don't need power at a construction site, but you need it for the gas station to work. Now do we even really need that going is the other side of this. Like, but either way, we would probably want to get power up to here. Well, let's say we don't really need to build the power right away. I would like to just get this built at that point. Because if we can get this built, then we could put some bulldozers in here. Then we can plan a road up the side of this mountain. And what I'm thinking of is, and the reason we can't do it now is because I can't level anything, is we just come like straight here up to there. And then, you know, we can go through that town because it'll be quicker. But then somewhere up here, we just sort of level off like a road. Well, maybe even like here, just to be a little less taking advantage of the leveling tools. Like we could just cut through here, cut that big loop out of it. All right, and then we'd build another construction thing on the other side of here where we would actually have a bit of supply, like meaning, just different, whatever supplies. So let me know if you guys have an opinion about that. And otherwise, yeah, see, I want to get this guy building the farm we got a lot of number one priorities, don't we? Yeah, are all of our yeah, see, all the dumpers are still busy. So that probably just saved us 15 minutes, which is probably not a bad amount of time to save us. All right, so let's see. So what do we do next? If you have a vote about that, I think we should start. Yeah. So we got this road done, so at least we can get these built. So we've kind of have university. I think the cinema doesn't seem to be having a great impact, right? Do we need this? Yeah, so let's just do that. And I might as well just send them to go do that real quick, right? Just so it's ready to go when we're ready to go. All right, so we have just not enough people, but our only paver is now working over here, but he's getting close to done. There goes some people up that way, I think. Good. So how is our educated looking? Let's take a look at our population. We haven't done that in a little while. And we are on fast forward, so things will be moving along relatively quickly. The only thing I don't like about the populated map, it would be nice if you could limit, like, just show me the people that live within 500 meters of where we're at right now, right? Like, because how many of these people are, like, just from the other towns around the map, right? They're not people that I would be concerned with at this moment. If that makes sense. Look, we got one person who even has a television. I don't know which TV station they're watching, but good. Good for him or her. All right, they're slowing down. We don't have dump trucks going out lightning quick. No, go take something to that other unfinished road. Or I guess you're already there. Okay, so that's why, because they're done this one. Yeah, we need you guys to get done. And we could build the pub. How are we doing? Yeah, see, our happiness is, I think it just went down in this one building because we dumped those people from that little town in here. So, yeah, so I think we're in good shape. But I'm thinking we should build, well, we have gravel here, so we could ship gravel from here up to there. But then the question comes in, it might be just cheaper to buy the gravel than it cost us in fuel to have the trucks go. We'll see what happens. We can price it out when we get up there to see how much it would cost. Let's see, how much would it cost to buy gravel from here or to here? No, that's not how you would do it. You would go to, and that's the gravel plant. Oh yeah, we don't have a gravel yard, do we? Yeah, well, we're not going to purchase quarried stone, but price per delivery is 43 per ton. So yeah, that's pretty expensive when you consider the gravel. Oh no, was that the total price? Where would we buy gravel? We don't have a gravel storage. I guess we could buy it here, right? cost of delivery per 1 ton. The total price of, yeah, see, look, it's doubling, over doubling the price of 3 tons. So I definitely think it would be worth a try. Like, just my intuition, just seeing those numbers is telling me that it would be worth driving the gravel over to here once we get this going. Now, the other thing is, there's really, I mean, our rule doesn't say, we could start designing up in here, right? Like we're being, well, at least in this flat area right here. But I also kind of want to get, yeah, you know what, I think we're going to reach darn near that far. And if we put, because in this case we have a road, a lot of times I've been building and I don't already have a road there, right? Like, even if this isn't the world's straightest road, it looks like it'd be fun with a race car. But even if it's not, like, I've been having to build limited by the leveling, right? Well, here we already have a road in place. So it's not like we couldn't send vehicles over here. And so I'm thinking maybe what we do, do we have to move all these people out of here, right? So maybe we just build it a little far away from them, but in this flat area. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll put a construction office up. Let's do kind of parallel with the road. I think that looks right. And then we'll do, I always like to have a gas station. And one of the reasons is they do kind of work out. Like, by the time you need another construction thing to be able to level things, it's not a bad time to have a, no. Is that too close? Okay, let's get rid of that momentarily. And put it back up. Right, again, our rule isn't that you can't have, like in other cases, you know, you'd want a bulldozer. Well, the problem is if we bring our bulldozer up here, it's going to have to go get fuel, and then it's going to want to drive all the way back. Are we done this road yet? No, but we're making progress on a few of them. That's good. Now, I haven't heard anything in the chat. Is the chat still working, or is everybody just being quiet? I see the number of people has dropped off a little bit, so I imagine there's not a massive number of you watching. But again, this isn't about massive numbers. This is about an excuse to learn, and whoever joins up, as long as you guys are having fun. But I do like the feedback. It definitely helps. It's sort of the purpose for doing this. Otherwise, we just do the regular Let's Play, right? Where I mostly do just what I want. All right, so how are we doing? Yeah, this is fast forward, so it's already after 4 o'clock. This game can suck up some of your time, can't it? Well, again, especially if you do the construction crew thing. All right, so we need another paver up here, or we need some more workers. So our problem is, even though we got all those dumpers now, we're just not getting enough people necessarily to these job sites. See, look, why are you not getting any workers? Every time I've looked here, like, there's 6 workers waiting, but it seems like every time I look, I see 6 workers, and then is it because we're taking workers to other places? No, it should be a blue bus. It should be a blue bus that's taking people different places. Nope. So you have to. Where is our construction bus? Is this? No, it's this SKD. No workers. Why do you always have no workers? Small bus platform 2, right? Oh, this is small bus platform. So is it? I'm wondering if a lot of the workers in this area are we better off picking this other one? Yeah, you know what? I'm wondering, like, these people that are down this end going here don't have any work. So let's just try to switch this. Right? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, let's try to switch that because these people are going to work in different places and we don't seem to be getting any workers here for some reason. Like they're probably are, or are they, I mean, are they going to like here? No, that's not. We got one. That's something. As far as connecting with trains, you know, because we have the limited rules and like no money coming in, I think trains are just so massively expensive, right? Like if we were to, you know, lay out a train track, like let's just say we went from here to here. This is 24 tons of steel. Right, well, let's say like this long is 25 tons. Like if you had to estimate what it would cost to get from that city to like this city, I mean, again, even assuming that it was kind of straight, like that's like what, maybe a tenth of the way at the best. So you're talking like 250 or maybe even 300, let's call it 300 tons of steel. And then we come over to our pricing. And we look at the steel price, which will go up, you know, you're talking about, of our dollars, which we only have 700,000 at this point, you're talking about spending in the neighborhood of 120 or 150,000 of that just in the price of steel to do the trains. So yes, I would be for it. It depends on how far we take the live stream of this map. Like the last time, and I don't know that we have an end goal that we ever decided on. The last time, like my end goal was to say, well, are we profitable? Let's turn off this wireframe. You know, once we became profitable, that was sort of a semi-short end of the map, right? Like you probably wouldn't end a map there. Oh, look, we're done this. Let's keep them working on paving roads. And good, like these are making progress. So in other words, I guess it depends on what the end goal is. I don't see us doing it as some way, like we have no money coming in, and I don't have a problem with building an oil refinery, well, an oil rigs and all that kind of stuff. But like those are going to eat up a bunch of steel. Oh, wrong one. Oh no, that wasn't the wrong one. Like if we come to, you know, like an oil rig is relatively inexpensive. The oil refinery is very expensive. That's, you know, I don't know that we're going to go for an oil refinery, but it might be good to just export some oil, right? But like the tank itself is 11 tons, and then the pipes are particularly expensive. And again, if we want to build a power plant, like we're just, you know, we haven't really built any buildings hardly, and we've already, just in this episode, we've gone through like 60,000 of it. So I'm just very, like, be aware we have no income and no way to get income. And building a train line to replace buses just seems like an awful expensive thing when you only have 700,000 to work with. Does that make sense? But I'd like to talk about when we end, right? Like, what is the goal for this? Like, for me at this point, the goal is to get some some kind of net positive money. If at first, when I first saw this chart, I didn't really understand why they would even give this to you. But if you look right now, we are losing. Like, this shows you, like, kind of, compared to what you're consuming, what are you making? You know what I mean? Like, so our positive, we can click on this, like, we're making asphalt, gravel, and stone. So that's bringing wealth in. Like, it's saving us that much money, if nothing else, from buying it, right? But in the same time, our industries have cost us $2,000. So it's like we're in this net negative month to month to month, right? Let's look at last month, might be a better indicator. So, we're creating $2,500 or rubles of wealth, and we're spending some of, a lot of it's constructions, but even like citizens are using 800 and vehicle fuel. And so what's this? This is like 1,500 or so, and then 3,500, not counting the 3,000 in constructions. So, this will be a very negative thing pretty quickly, Hi, Pietro, no problem. Yeah, I understand people come and go from the stream, and sometimes I miss you guys, like when all of a sudden I don't hear from you, but it's all good. Definitely need food. I usually eat pretty quickly after the stream ends. It's one of the reasons the time does work for me, is because it gets done at about 5 o'clock or so my time, and then doesn't interrupt the day. I mean, it's the middle of the Saturday, which the worst part is that we have another, like, just beautiful day in the neighborhood. And let me see, it's been a while since I was outside, but, and of course, 27 Celsius, it's just a really nice day out there. Like, I can see the sun shining, and I got the grass cut yesterday, so everything looks nice in the yard as I'm looking at it. But other than taking me away from a beautiful day outside, this is a great time to do this for me. Well, I had the Discord, and my computer logs into it. I've kind of tried to keep an eye on it. There hasn't. I have, like I said, I'm going to probably go eat after this. Now I say that, and then of course the Discord's not. It's not open on this other computer. Now, I did learn about the Discord that it makes a lot of bleeping and booping, which, sometimes I tend to turn it off. Like, I'm just going to fire it up again. Because, like, if I'm recording, I don't want, like, every time somebody puts in a message, a bloop, or whatever little noise beep it makes, and it, I don't like beeping during my episodes if I can avoid it. That's why I leave the cell phone generally in the other room. Or, sometimes I forget to turn it off, but at least it's not real close. So, yeah, I have no problem with, just there's not been a lot of activity on the Discord. Certainly should be there for you guys to use anytime you want, from what I gather. I don't have to be in it for you guys to be in it. There we go. Look, I got it open now. But again, the problem is, like, I have it quiet on my computer, so it's not gonna. Yeah, see, right now, 08 Mike and me are the only ones logged into the Discord. All right, let's keep an eye on what's going on in the game, right? So, we only have one construction. Good. So now, and that's this big road. That's fine. So let's. I say we get the farm going. And then we should talk about more work for people, right? And we have a cinema here. I would think that it would be best to maybe put it along this road. I don't want to get too far away from most of our people, right? It's one of the problems with this town being up against this river, is that, by the time these people walk anywhere, like, they start running out of. Like, see that? They can only go so far, so we're going to have to bus these people. But we could bus some of them. Yeah, I think everybody's kind of too far away. I don't think we're going to get these industries, but we should probably talk about like the food industries. $30 degrees. That's getting kind of warm for me. Like 27, the difference between 27 and 30, in my opinion, is starting to get, I don't know, it's just starting to get a bit much, right? Like when you're at 30. So what we should talk about is probably another bus stop, right? We don't need any people at the farm. But we will want, well, we got the bus stop here, but if we put the distillery, like say here, and then we won't put anything right here so that we could, if we ever wanted to, we could have another one of those parking things. And let's see. Yeah, the food factory is a little more awkward. Let's level a bit. And then, yeah, let's get the food factory in. Now, do we put the food factory like this way, maybe? Or this way? If we put it this way, we can have one less node on that road, which isn't the end of the world, but yeah, I'm kind of liking that. And then maybe we put our bus stop. Now it's going to put that silly path right there. Don't be red. Or am I just worried about, and the reason I'm thinking of this is that we could then put one of those parking things on the back side of it, right? Like for a little while we could, for a little while we can use just the thing, but if we were to start getting more trucks, some of the things that you guys will notice I talk about too, I realize, let me level this up a little bit. I realize that I sort of build things, even if we know that we're not going to play this map that long, like I still want to, I tend to want to build things so that they're could be used permanently, right? Like, in other words, do we really need a road cargo thing? Like, we would spin this guy around, like, will we ever build that realistically? And same thing like here. But I think it's still nice to consider those things at least, right? Pretend that we're going to. Yeah, so I got a lot of road connections going on there. Make sure those can connect, and then we can connect that again. Now, will we ever build those? I don't know. But at least, I've found in the other maps, if you don't allow for that, you just end up with such traffic jams around some of these buildings. All right, so how are we doing on our little paving adventure up here? Well, we're still paving. As things start to slow down the further you get. All right, so what did we do over here? Yeah, we put this in. So what I'm wondering is, do we just keep plowing along, just not even worry about this gas station and bite the bullet on efficiency? Like, in other words, if we don't have fuel here, then if we do put, I'm willing to pause the game just for the sake of placing these two roads. Like once, get a bulldozer and a excavator up here, and then just pause it for a minute while we do this, because that's really annoying when they turn around and start driving back for fuel when you're trying to level something, And I don't mind myself personally that much, but when you're trying to do, like the live stream, that gets, okay, guys, let's wait. Okay, so Well, we've got the concrete. 0.5. Now, who dropped off 0.5 concrete? We need 36 tons, buddy. And you bring... Oh, you know what the problem is? You know what that is when there's no workers here. There's 0.5 concrete was in storage. So why aren't you sending in... The workers fell off here. I'm thinking we need to go gather up some more people from around the map. Maybe even put in another building. Radomir wanted brick building. Why don't we put in another brick? Wow, that's a lot of... Yeah, see, I'm wondering if these aren't part of the problem. Like, how are we doing on our population? Are we making enough babies? Let's do... Yeah, this year, we're not even gone a year into the game. So if we do this year... Well, we're losing people between a few escapes. Yeah, we're just sporadically getting people escaping once in a while. We've had 132 deaths. So I'm afraid that what's happening is... I don't know that these towns are really sustaining themselves. Right? Like if we were able to somehow get a population census on all these people... I don't necessarily think that they're growing the population of these towns, or even sustaining. Yeah, we could make more. You're right. We could make more of these houses. We have these guys working split up 30, but you're right. We can look. This one doesn't even have anybody in it. See, and the thing about the tiny houses is we only have like one person in there. I think we're almost better off just taking them out of there, right? And why don't we just take the people out of the tiny houses for now? At least the tiny ones. Like, yeah, so our one that holds 13, they don't even... Okay, so this one has 5. So let's specify those 5 to work there. And that's the one that I just assigned. Yeah, see, I'm wondering if we shouldn't... Like, are these people able to reproduce, right? Like, it's just one person, but then... Yeah, it's productive age workers. You would think you'd have a man and a wife that were both productive age, unless somebody's married to a teenager. Now, what do we have? No babies. See, that person, theoretically, I don't know how sophisticated the game is, but you would think... that person's never going to reproduce, right? At least it doesn't mean they can't go out to the bar and have a one-night stand, I suppose, but maybe that's the justification for it. But let's take some of these, like just the tiny houses, and put them in here. And then there will be assigned... See, nobody in that one. That's a substation. Yeah, I think we got all the tiny houses now into here. Back up to 35. And then why don't we take some of the tiny, or just the small houses here, and just grab some of these people for the same logic. And again, if somebody has more experience with this populated map thing... This is definitely a learning experience for me. These tiny houses? Oh yeah, why is there no power? I don't know. Oh, this is without... Why is there no power here? Why is there no power here? Why is there no power anywhere? I thought did we not pay the electric bill? Import purchase mode. Did I accidentally delete something? follow this line real careful. Good observation. Thank you, Pietro. See, next time you're not allowed to go eat. You leave and the power system fails us. So, I mean, I didn't see any breaks in that power line. Building is without power supply. Yeah, we can't click on these poles. Well, I wonder if it's that thing where they sort of disconnect themselves. Like, I've had this problem where I swear things were connected. I mean, it's, you know, your memory's not perfect. I guess I could go back and look, but I mean, that definitely, there's no wires we're missing in between any of those poles. All right, so let's, are we buying it with dollars? Is that the thing? Oh, there's no dollars. Yeah, there's no dollars. Oops. Yeah, by we do you mean me? Yeah, so that would mean, I mean, the only other solution, yeah, there's no dollars. I mean, we have to, like, the only solution is to run power, and that's going to be costly. Let me just close all of these because we now have a catastrophe. Let's see. So we have this one here, right? Let's just think here. You know what? Let's pause it because this is a big enough issue that, yeah, this is a big issue. All right, so we have power here. And what I'm thinking of is coming in one way make more sense than the other? Where the heck is our town? Like, in other words, if we were going to come building over to here, right? Like, let's think about this being versus coming from here. So if we come from there, yeah, I think I want to come from this one because we'll run power past where we're going to need it. Right? Oops. So we'll build this. Oops, not medium. No, I did medium again. Yeah. I mean, let's just see how much this costs us. But this might just mean that we've basically failed. Yeah, so I'm going to build this. Yeah, let's build it to here. Let's go back. 115,000 to get to there. No, you won't come over here. Will you come up? It's like a Christmas light display. And then what I think I would do, since we had to, I think what I'll do is put in a switch. Just because I know we're going to want power over here fairly soon, right? If we were to actually succeed. Yeah, let's, you know what? Yeah, this is going to cost us 200,000 just to get to here, and then we would have to go further, and there's no real advantage if we're not allowed to sell power, right? So it just means we wasted money on that. So you're probably right. Yeah, let's cancel that out. And we didn't put the switch down anyhow. Let's see how much, if we come here, auto build from rubles, 267,000. And let me just take a quick look. Let's make sure. I'm thinking of putting it like right. Wow, we can't. Yeah, I guess with our own rules, we can't build power unless we have it paved. And so the problem is I really want to get this hooked up to our coal eventually. Yeah, so we've basically failed. But since we have this paved up to here, but then we need to get people to it, I don't necessarily want to put it right in town. I guess we could build it over here, right? And just always... Where's the road coming in and out of it? You know, like if... I mean, that's red. Can't build due to infrastructure. Need flat terrain. Can I turn it this way to start flattening? Yeah, I say we just build it right here, right? We've already got the power infrastructure. We're just going to have to import the coal. Oh, I'm building with dollars. Just want to get this building leveled a little bit. Well, here's the thing. Well, let's see what happens. But this is going to be such a massive hit to our money, and then you know what I'm saying. It's just not that the buying the electricity wouldn't have been. I guess this will be theoretically at some point cheaper than, you know. And then the thing is do we build this? Is it breaking of our rules to, like, we need to build this where we already have people, because our rule is that we're not allowed to put power up where we don't have asphalt. So yeah, I would rather actually fail at that point and restart, to be honest. Which is okay. There's nothing, you know, it's not a failure. It's a learning experience. It's the way life is. So we're just, you know what, let me zoom in so you guys can see what's going on. Sorry about that. Just trying to get enough room here to make sure we can get those power lines out the back. But we'll plop this guy down and we'll pollute the heck out of there. Maybe we'll give them a pub to make up for the pollution they're about to eat. Now, to be honest, too, I really haven't seen some massive issue with pollution. But then again, I've got too many people anyway. So if they're dying 5 years younger for the pollution, it doesn't seem to be having a huge effect on the other Let's Play. So let's see, can we... Holy crap. No, I should have checked that, huh? Yeah, let's see, can we do it if we do this? Turn yellow for me? No. No, of course it's just way too high. Well, good. I'm glad I didn't still have it on auto build with rubles. All right, let's play pause. I mean, we could, you know, we're going to auto build it, but we do have to auto build it in such a way that it, nope, not level, lower. Yes, Seb, let's put it this way, and I think that it's as close to as big of a difference between starting in the middle of the map, with especially when you put certain rules on yourself. Like, in other words, we're not allowed to sell power. Like, if we were allowed to sell power, then that makes it a lot easier. And then, of course, the other thing is, you know, like I put in a rule like you can't build power unless you pave things. And that makes a big difference too, because, like, why don't you just go build on the edge of the map, right? Like, at some point, it's if you don't have some rule that says you can't build on the edge of the map, why don't you just go build on the edge of the map? So yeah, starting in the middle and then limiting, you know, like you kind of have to spread out kind of idea. Give yourself some kind of rule along those lines. All right, so let's see. I should put the wireframe on, but that doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot, does it? I at least want to get it down enough that we can build a road up here. All right, let's try this again. So what? So Pietro, if you're thinking that we just, yeah, this is lowering it good. Tried to lower the center there a fair amount. I think this will make the difference. But yeah, it's definitely harder. And see if we buy this with rubles, which we don't. Well, yeah, we kind of have to because we're not going to be able to make concrete and stuff, right? I mean, we have to have power, and if we don't have any dollars, and as far as I know, I mean, there might be a way to cheat things in that, but I don't even know of a way to really cheat things in this game. I'm not big into that kind of stuff anyway, so I don't go looking for it. Though in some games, it's nice to be able to do those things, like to get started, if nothing else, like when you're yeah, it's nice. Like if you want to start set up certain starting, it's not so much cheating. It's like, well, this is the starting conditions I want, right? All right, so let's see. Let's see if we can't get the road over there. I'm glad I checked, like I said, before I bought that. There we go, nice and green. Yeah, well, purchase that. Purchase that. So Pietro, I'm hearing that you think we should just restart. Well, we're not going to restart today because we got 10 minutes left. So I guess I might as well play time forward while that gets built. And then yeah, we'll have to get at least the power lines. Well, now we have this nice switch over here that we weren't using before, right? But yeah, I don't know if you could make it by the time we use up all this money. What am I doing? What I'm doing is I'm running around all upset that we failed, not thinking about what I'm doing. Yeah, yeah. So see, we can get this. Is this going to be a pain in the butt to get? No, we can get it around the back here, I think. Oh, what are you doing? Look at that. That's weird. Isn't that funny the way it's like jumping up to there? I've never seen that before. Try to. Oh, come on. Yeah. All right, so then we have to, well, when this gets done, yeah. Yeah, well, start selling power kind of breaks the rules, right? Same thing with, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather restart with the same rules because we learned. And to be honest, this was the first time, the only reason I would keep playing next, and let's talk about what we do from here. Like, we don't have to decide right now. For those of you that come to each live stream each week, we can discuss starting over like at the beginning of next week, right? We'll get this built so we have power again. But the only thing I would really want to know before the next thing, and I might even play this in between, I want to understand the dynamics of these people better, right? Like, can I pave the roads past here without upsetting them too much? Or like, what's the trigger for them leaving? Do these people in these single houses, do they reproduce? Well, there's two people in this house, so, are they two women or are they two men? Or does it not matter? Does the game, like, because it seems like we're not making as many people as I would expect, right? Like, in other words, for having like 2,000 population, let's do this year. Yeah. Okay, let's pause it. And we'll probably stay paused. Like, these are the questions I have now about this populated map. Is like, I think it matters that does it matter that they're in the same building to reproduce? Because if it does, I think that you're a lot better off getting rid of all of these little houses and dumping them throughout the whole map, right? Like, I'm assuming the same, but then if you start doing that, like if we start moving people from here, does that count as activating like these people are now upset that they don't have all the stuff that they need, like, because they're definitely not all escaping. There is some mechanism going on, that's saying, hey, look, these people don't have everything they need, but they're not escaping to go to the next Soviet town. But does that make sense? So what is the mechanism around that? I'd like to understand that better, because it would influence the way I handled the map. Like it would maybe greatly, right? Like, because, if we're going to lose all these people just by death, then we just want to move them all into here ASAP. Because remember, one of our conditions is that we're not allowed to buy more people. So, if all of a sudden all these people in all these towns just mostly die of old age, we're going to be in trouble. But, or maybe it's just certain towns. Like maybe this town will do fine and grow because it's got a certain number in the area, right? And again, are they better off in these buildings, the bigger buildings, versus, like even just letting time play on would tell you that, right? Like go eat your dinner and just let this play forward and see what actually happens with the people in the town. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't mind necessarily restarting. I'm just saying, like I wouldn't consider it wasted time. We know what we'd want to do. We'd get it done pretty quickly. Might even do things like this busing idea. I don't know. I think, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. It's like these people still aren't. Well, look at that. Yeah, see, we were about to crash and burn because no culture, no tavern, no this, no that. So it was a good catch on your part, Pietro. Yeah. Well, we could start selling power because we have to restart. We have to buy coal. There we go. I mean, I have no problem with that. Oh, that's the custom house. We want this. Export mode. Yeah, sell everything you can. I haven't necessarily had a problem with setting that on 10 megawatts. As long as we have people, that's the other issue here. So we're definitely going to want to take... Yeah, see, this house doesn't have many, does it? Some of these houses... This is what I'm talking about. Like, hey, look at that. We got 2 workers. Here's the other thing. Like, notice there's 2 and 10 and 0. Now, I don't think I've taken these people out of here. Yeah, but see, I don't think this is going to last. See, because we're sending these guys over to the concrete plant. These guys I might have taken out of here. Look at the power. Yeah, let's turn down how much we're selling. I don't think that's helping. Let's see if we just sell 2. Does it say how much? There we go. Yeah, that at least stabilized it. So we have a few dollars coming in, but our rubles are going down. So at least in the meantime, yeah, now the problem is we don't have enough people over here, right? And these people are mostly being used for the quarry business, so we'd really... And here's the point I was getting at before I read your comment. I did, yeah. Well, we are buying coal. Well, the problem is we need to get people over here reliably. Like, I got 2 people. And, yeah, I mean, we could switch that. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I don't know if that's going to last very long. Like, because, well, actually, we're not importing anything. So it should be a net positive all the time, as long as we're not importing anything else from the NATO. Like, see how that just sort of stopped because we have no power. Like, and here come two people walking up there. We need to get another house over here, and we need to stabilize the population over here if we were going to do that, I think. So let's might as well do it, right? But see, if we're going to start building everything with the rubles, even calling it an emergency, yeah, we're not going to make it. We're just going to run out of money even worse, faster, right? Like the knee-jerk reaction to the whole problem is actually worse worse than not doing anything sometimes. Like, so we'll put this road into, and then what I would do is go around the map, like, I don't think there's any reason to mess with that, and like just start grabbing people out of other places. We'll get all these big houses emptied out, right? Just because they're quicker to do. And then we'll send them over to here. Now I'm curious. I don't want to do anything more to that big town over there. You know what? We get two pumps on some of these. 2 clicks. And then, yeah, this is the one I didn't do twice. See, what I'm noticing is that we're losing people out of this town faster than they seem to be the other towns. So what I want to do is just send... I wish you could take these guys and say, see, you can't reduce that. Like, I wish you say, like, just 50% of you go there. Like, what we can do is, send the other 50% to work in the shopping center. And, let's just do that. But then we're going to re-up the power plant to 50% or so. Right? Like, I wish you could just say, like, you didn't have to specify everyone. I don't think it'd be a big deal to just let you click on the minus and just have one thing selected, and then... Does that make sense? Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, even though we don't have enough people to keep... Well, now, I think we even just solved some of our people problem. And then what we probably also want to do is... like, get them some kind of a footpath. Yeah, let's take this footpath over to here. And there. And there, right? And we're just going to do all those with dollars or rubles, whatever I picked. Yeah, that'll help them a lot. They won't have to walk down and around. Yeah, so like I said, we don't really have to decide. We could keep trying to salvage this, right? Like, we got our power situation back going again. We got some unhappy people. Like, a lot of, or they're on the verge of becoming very unhappy. Like, all these unable to enjoy culture, all these messages. Like, we need to, but I think we pretty much should have gotten that fixed. Now, these people don't have all the messages, but their happiness is low because that always happens when you relocate people. Now my question is, like, we took all the people out of the big, well, not all. Well, maybe we'll take the people out of here. Does this affect these people? And notice this, like, if we come over to our town, oops, let me keep that one open. I do want to steal those people just for the sake of it. Like, we didn't mess with any of these, right? Now, are they, we get 2 of 13. I'm just wondering if see, like, 0, 1, it seems like there's less people in the little houses. 0, like, I don't remember taking any of these people out of here, right? See, 1 of 13, like 2 of 13. I think we're losing people out of the little houses disproportionately, or maybe it's proportionally, but you just notice that there's a lot of empty ones. And I think there was at least a person in almost every house I was clicking on before. And then I say that, and these guys seem okay, but who knows? All right, let's take these guys out of here. Yeah, you go in there too. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that was kind of a big mistake, spending all the dollars, and yet we were trying to import our power from here. Look, it's interesting. Look, it's just going up like $1 at a time. Like but that's good. And that's, by the way, guys, why the rule no selling power, right? Because as soon as all you need to do is ramp up this system, and you pretty much make money, right? Like we don't have enough people here right now. But and by the way, like now that we have, if you look, it says we're doing 2.2. But if we got more workers into here, we could get a lot more wattage. And then once we got the more wattage, then we could easily up the amount that we're selling. That's the wrong thing again. Export mode. Let's see, even if we take it up to 3, does that start? Yeah, see. Let's keep that open. It's a little weird the way this electrical works, but if we see, it's sort of making it on demand, but you have to watch out, because if you don't have enough people, you'll max this out. And you'll see it because, like, let's say you came over to here, like you'll start seeing the voltages jump around. As long as we can keep steady people in there, we'll be in good shape, which we seem to be so far. Not that we've been watching it for that long, but... Hey, Radomir, welcome back. Do you have a concert every Saturday? It seems to be... Wasn't it you were doing the same thing or something similar last week? Radomir, we maybe didn't even get to doing bricks because we mean mostly me, I think, but nobody screamed bloody murder at me. When we spent all of our dollars, or at least the vast majority of them, on building things, we kind of forgot that we were importing our power from the NATO countries using dollars. So we ran out of dollars entirely, and then we decided, well, let's just slap in a power plant, because it would actually be cheaper to build that power plant than to try to build another power line from all the way over, one of these Soviet ones. And it's not like we have a lot of Soviet money coming in anyway, or none. So then we've sort of built this power plant, and, to some degree, we decided it's already 5 o'clock. We're not going to go much longer, a couple more minutes type thing. Do we want to continue or restart again now that we've learned, or we've got some more rules worked out? And yeah, so there you go. That's the summary for the beginning of next week. We can decide, you know what, I might even try to save one of the auto saves before we built you know what, we're either going to go with the power plant or we're going to restart. But because even if whatever other solution we had, we would be up against it, right? Like, because it was going to cost us like $400,000 just to build those power lines, and this only cost us $300,000. Okay, so the last 3 Saturdays you had concerts. Does that? Well, that's good. I hope you enjoy them. Or is it work? Guys, I'm going to start saying goodbye, and maybe we should just pause it here. But basically, Pietro came back from lunch, and he noticed all of this big mess. And then Seb, I just kind of caught your thing. Yeah, it was a good test run. Well, for me, I've never done a populated map. So I think I'm going to, before next week's thing, I want to find out what goes on with these towns, one way or the other. Would I got to watch somebody else's video or just mess around with this map before we restart it? Like, I don't understand the mechanism that keeps these guys happy-ish enough that they don't escape. And it would definitely potentially influence. It's like the one thing I don't know and understand, about like if we were to come over here and start building oil. And so we can talk more about like bricks versus, and heck, maybe we can, like, this is close enough to the center of the map. Maybe we want to start right here. I would have, like, I would like to start more than the center, but, I don't know. We just picked this for whatever reason. I'm not even 100% sure why. And to be honest, it seems like it's kind of closer to here. Like, I would have no problem with restarting anywhere, in this general vicinity. And maybe we start here, and then we get the coal going right off the bat. We get Radomir his brick place. We get a power plant up and running. We still have the rule, no selling power, no asphalt. But now, again, are we trying to find the hardest populated start, or are we just trying to have some fun? And because we should also talk about, I think by next week, I think we should also talk about just getting, like, what is our end goal? Like, is it hardest start, just getting profitable, or do we want to do something else? Like, do we just want to keep playing a populated map as part of the live stream until we all get tired of it and vote for something else? Let me know what you guys think. Again, and you don't have to do right now. We can do it over the course of the week. Enjoyable work. I just saw your comment about that. It's good to have enjoyable work. Yeah. And thank you, Pietro. I will, wind down. Give everybody a chance to say goodbye, and we will, we'll come back and decide what to do. That's not much money to get going. But hey, we got power now, right? Like, how much did power cost us this year? Yeah, see, we haven't even gone through a full year on this map yet. And a lot of the time was just spent, muddling around. I think if we restarted, we would agree, do we just redo the same thing? Or again, do we start over here? Because I think starting over here, I think one of the problems with over here is this river. But again, are we trying to find the hardest restart? If we are, then I think this was a good place to start. I think it would be significantly easier to start right here because you have the oil, because you have the coal, and they're right there. Bang, bang, get those things built. Get a farm built over here. It doesn't have to be a big farm, right? Just enough crops to start offsetting, or maybe over here is a little more room, Yeah, why don't we? I'll agree with you there, Radomir. Why don't we? I'll try to put up the video. I don't know if you guys realize it, but you should be able to click on the live tab and see the future scheduled events. And then if you want to, you can even hit set a reminder. I do wish that the set a reminder wouldn't remind you at 2. Like, I've just clicked on it to see what would happen. And it's like at 2, they remind you. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, wouldn't it be kind of nice to get a reminder 6 hours early? Like, because I may not be sitting at my computer at 2 to remember there's a live stream kind of thing. Like, of course, I'm going to remember, but I think you get the idea. So, yeah, I think we should consider starting over here if we want to make it easier on ourselves, or do we go start over there? I think the general consensus is we restart, but again, we don't have to decide right now. And then, I'll try to lay out the rules we've decided more clearly in the comments either way, like whatever we decide, because I think I think we have a fair set of rules. All right, guys. So this will be the official goodbye, and I want to thank you all. And by the way, there was something else I noticed today when I logged back. I got up to 400 subscribers. So I just want to take a minute to thank you guys for subscribing and just watching the videos in general. You know, it's been a fun experience playing this game and having everybody participate and doing the live streams. There's not a ton of us that come to the live streams, but there's getting to be quite a few people watch the videos, and just know that I appreciate everybody's help and comments and, you know, the likes and just the views, whatever else it is. And for those of you that subscribe, thank you. I don't know. It sounds pretty smart, Radomir. If you enjoy and want to go do something, and if you're that type person that keeps a notebook, I think that you increase your IQ if you keep like a diary. If you're the type person that writes things down and like logs and stuff, like it's one of the ways you can actually increase your IQ. So maybe it's overkill, but you're probably smarter for it, literally. So who knows? Yep, and thanks again, guys. I do truly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I have a little bit of a surprise for this week. So nobody get too upset if there's a different game being played on Tuesday, but I'll tell you about it in Monday's episode. I'm going to try to tie it into this one, so I'll leave you on that suspenseful note. But you'll know on Monday. I won't mention it in tomorrow's episode because that's already recorded, but it's going to be in, you'll see. But I have a little surprise. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know, of course. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. I'm going to leave the game running a bit just so that you guys get a chance to say goodbye, and then I'll cut it off after a minute or two.